First, we need to be very conscious about choosing the title topic. What is the topic for argumentative essay? In an argumentative essay, as in all writing, choosing the right topic is important. You need to be very serious about choosing the right topic. हाम्रो topic appropriate हुनु पर्यो and we need to choose it first. Choosing the right topic is very important. So, ideally, you should have an intellectual or emotional stake in your topic. We need to have we need to have our intellectual or emotional. कि intellectual हुनु पर्यो कि हाम्रो मन सान्दर्भिक हुनु पर्यो emotional state. Still, you should be open-minded and willing to consider all sides of question. Means you should be clear. Plus, we should be able to be explain all side of our questions. If the evidence goes against your position, you should be able to change your position. You should also be able from the outset to consider your topic from other people's viewpoints. This will help you determine what their beliefs are and how they are likely to react. You can then use this knowledge to build your case and to refute opposing viewpoints. If you cannot be open minded, you should choose another topic you can deal with more objectivity. So, when you choose the title topic, you need to be clear yourself about explaining, about including the related things that we need for that essay. That means reasons, no? How we will be able to reason over here. Not only this, when we will go through choosing this type of topics and including writing such type of writings, we need to be open-minded. Now, our open-minded, open way of reasoning will help us to deal with the objective of argumentative essay. Other factors which should also influence your selection of a topic. First, you should be well informed about your topic. हामीलाई टपिकको बारेमा जानकारी हुनु पर्यो सबभन्दा पहिलो कुरा. In addition, you should choose an issue narrow enough to be treated in the space available to you or be willing to confine your discussion to one aspect of a broad issue. To use one aspect of the broad issue means के कुरा तपाईँले छान्दै हुनुहुन्छ, के कुरालाई गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ त्यसलाई एकदमै ध्यान दिएर व्याख्या गर्ने काम गर्नुहोस्. So, in addition, you should choose an issue narrow enough to be treated in the space available to you or be willing to confine your discussion to one aspect of a broad issue. It is also important to consider your purpose. Oh, हाम्रो purpose के हो त? Let's consider it. What you expect your argument to accomplish and how you wish your audience to respond. If your topic is so far reaching that you cannot identify what you want to convince reader or think, or if your purpose is so idealistic that your expectations of their response are impossible or unreasonable, your essay will suffer. So if you will not be able to reason your essay, means reason, add a reason to your title topic, if you will not be able to argument on that, if your topic itself is far reaching that we cannot identify it, if we cannot convince our reader with our thinking, हाम्रो विचारसँग रिडरलाई कन्भिन्स गराउन सकेनौँ भने पनि, if our purpose is so idealistic that we do not that our expectations of response will be impossible or unreasonable to it, then our argumentation essay will not be an argumentative. अनि चाहिँ हामीले आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे लेख्छु भने पनि त्यो आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ हुन सक्दैन. So our purpose must be clear with more argumentation means reason. Developing a thesis. How to develop thesis then? Thesis statement is the next important part of our thesis statement is next important part of our essay, which we must be very careful. After you have chosen your topic, you are ready to state the position you will argue in the form of a thesis. You know, when we have chosen our topic, we must be ready to state the position that we will argue in the form of a thesis. Thesis को आधारमा argue गर्नको लागि we need to be able first. Keep in mind that in an argumentative essayमा हामीले के कुरा विचार गर्नुपर्छ भने your thesis must take a stand. In other words, it must be debatable. हो, जुन चाहिँ हामीले डिबेट गर्न सक्ने खालको हुनु पर्यो. A good argumentative thesis states a proposition that at least some people will object to. Some people they will object to. हामीले गरेको रिजन सबैले मन पराउँछन्, सबैले सही हो भन्छन् भन्ने पनि छैन. हैन, जस्तो वाइफको डेफिनेसन भन्नुपर्दा हाम्रो डेफिनेसन एउटा छ, अर्कोको अर्को हुन सक्छ. हैन, अथवा हामीले सिम्पल थिङ, अ भेरी सिम्पल म्याटर द्याट पेन यु हेभ इन फ्रन्ट अफ यु, तपाईँले एक तरिकाले डिफाइन गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ, अर्कोले अर्को गर्न सक्छ. किन यो युनिभर्सल डेफिनेसन नभइसक्दाखेरि सबैले एउटै होइन. सो यो thesis may be debatable. हैन, त्यो डिबेटेबल हुन पनि सक्छ, नो म्याटर. तर तपाईँले रेज गरेको कुरा चाहिँ what you have written, what you have presented over there, that must be clear and that must be meaningful. A good argumentative thesis states a proposition that at least some people will object to. एउटा राम्रो आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे भनेको कसैले अब्जेक्ट गरिदियोस् भनेको अब्जेक्सन हुने खालको हुनु पर्यो, अनि त रिजन थप्न पाइयो नि. So arguing a statement of fact or an idea that most people accept as self-evident is pointless. So when we will argue a statement of fact or an idea that most people accept as self-evident is pointless. Self-evident आफ्नो मात्र कुरा राख्ने, अरूको रिजनिङ र अरूको एन्सरिङहरूलाई सुन्दैनौँ भने त्यो पनि मिनिङफुल एसे हुन सक्दैन. So there is an example of thesis statement. Okay, it's about argumentative essay, how the argumentative essay we present on, and what the argumentative essay is dealing about. So let's see here. An example is here of argumentative essay. Education is the best way. Education is the best way to address the problem of increasing drug use among teenagers. Teenagers drug use. Yes, how they use the drug. This is a problem that is being increased. यो हाम्रो एउटा आर्गुमेन्टेसनको एसे भयो. This thesis statement says that increased drug use in a problem among teenagers, that more than one possible solution to this problem exists. यो समस्याको possible solution भनेको that education is a better solution than any other. अरूभन्दा उनीहरूलाई शिक्षित गराउनु नै सबभन्दा राम्रो solution हो. In your argument, you will have to support each of these 3 points logically and persuasively. A good way to test the suitability of your thesis for an argumentative essay is to formulate an antithesis, a statement that asserts that opposite position. If you think that some people would support the antithesis, you can be certain your thesis is indeed debatable. Thesis के छ, education is the best way to address the problem of increased drug use among the teenagers. This is the thesis statement that is included over here. Kita शिक्षा दिन सक्यो भने मात्रै, if we will be able to give the proper education to them, then only teenagers will be aware about the impact of drug abuse. Antithesis. Education is not the best way to address the problem of increased drug use among teenagers. हो हाम्रो थेसिसलाई यसको ठ्याक्क अपोजिट भन्दा पनि रिजन चाहिँ एकदम पर्याप्त र उपयुक्त रिजनहरू आउने भयो भने then that is what our essay is suitable. Argumentative essay is meaningful. Now, thesis is because immigrants have contributed much to the development of United States, immigration quotas should be relaxed. होइन, इमिग्रेसन जो बजाइसकेर गए उनीहरूले नै युएसलाई बनाए, त्यसलाई चाहिँ अझै युज गर्नु पर्यो भन्छ भने यसको एन्टिथेसिस के हो? यसको अपोजिट कुरा, even though immigrants have contributed much to the development of the United States, immigration quotas should not be relaxed. Immigration quota हो तर immigration quota अब थप्नु चाहिँ हुँदैन. It's more over there. Now, analyzing your audience. How can we analyze? यो माथि थेसिस र एन्टिथेसिस के दिएको भने मेन कुरालाई पनि हामीले अपोजिटमा गएर फेरि त्यसको रिजन दिन सक्ने हुनुपर्छ. Analyze your audience. Before writing any essay, you should analyze the characteristics, values and interest of your audience. हो, हाम्रो अडियन्सको इन्ट्रेस्ट, भ्यालुज र क्यारेक्टरिस्टिकलाई हामीले एनालाइज गर्न सक्ने हुनु पर्यो. In argumentation, it is especially important to consider what beliefs or opinions your reader are likely to have and whether your audience is likely to be friendly, neutral or hostile to your thesis. And your thesis-मा, argumentation-मा सबभन्दा स्पेशल इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरा के हो भने beliefs or opinion your reader are likely to have. Beliefs, opinions that our readers are likely to have and whether your audience is likely to be friendly. And the audience are कति friendly छन्, कति neutral छन्, कति hostile छन् towards this. You need to know it. It is probably best to assume that some of, not most of your readers are at least skeptical. पुरै पुरानै सोचाइमा हुन्छन् भन्ने पनि छैन. आफ्नो सोचाइ भन्दा बाहेकको कुरा सहन नसक्ने हुन्छन् भन्ने पनि छैन. That they are open to your ideas but need to be convinced. हो, यसले भन्न खोजेको कुरा त ठिक हो तर उसले दिएको रिजन कति ठिक छ छैन भन्ने कुरामा हुन्छ के आर्गुमेन्टेसन भनेको. Yes, drug abuse can be reduced by giving education. हो, अब by giving education के गरेर एजुकेसन दिनु पर्यो र ड्रग एब्युज कम हुने भयो त भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ यो रिजन, यो वे हाउ यु रिजन डिपेन्ड्स अन हामीले कुन तरिकाले रिजन दिनको लागि हाम्रा रिजन कसरी हामी राख्छौं त्यसमा भर पर्ने कुरा हो यो चाहिँ. सो if you this assumption will keep you from making claims you cannot support. If your position is controversial, यदि हाम्रो position controversial छ भने you should assume that an informed and determined opposition is looking for holes in your So if we will go for weak reasoning, if we will have weak reasoning, हैन, हामीले कमजोर रिजनहरु राख्छौं भने then our argumentation essay will not be argumentation essay. Argumentation essay मात्र भनेर त भएन. हाम्रो रिजनिङ एप्रोप्रिएट छैन, सुटेबल छैन, स्ट्रङ बनाउन हामीले सकेनौं भने त्यो चाहिँ आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे बन्न सक्दैन. ओन्ली थेसिस, पर्पोज, टाइटल will not make argumentative essay. यसरी मात्र आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे चाहिँ बनाउँदैन. हामीले बनाएको, हामीले लेखेको आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे कस्तो हुनु पर्यो? With good and strong reasoning it must be. So You must appeal to readers who are neutral or even hostile to your position, and you must influence those readers so that they are more receptive to your viewpoint. For example, it would be relatively easy to convince college students that tuition should be lowered or to convince instructor that faculty salaries should be raised. ट्युसन कम जाऊ तर पढाउने टिचरलाई बढी स्यालेरी दियो भने धेरै मेहनत गर्छन् भन्ने कुरा त एकदम सही हो. So, so it would be much harder to convince college students that tuition should be raised to pay for an increase in instructor salaries or to pursue instructor to forego raises so that tuition. So it's very hard to convince the students होइन अब हो ट्युसन फी ट्युसन जाने टाइम वेस्ट गर्ने र ट्युसनमा फेरि अर्को फी तिर्नु सट्टा त त्यहीको इन्स्ट्रक्टरलाई बढी पेमेन्ट दिनको लागि फी बढाउने भनेर उनीहरूलाई कन्भिन्स गर्न त गाह्रो छ. सो इट्स भेरी हार्ड टु कन्भिन्स देम. So we should have good reasoning power, argumentative power for convincing them in the way. So remember, your audience will not just take your word for the claims you make. You must provide evidence that will support your thesis and establish a line of reasoning that will lead logically to your conclusion. जुनले चाहिँ हामीलाई हाम्रो कन्क्लुजनमा लोजिकल लैजान सकोस् with logic. So when we analyze to our audience after writing our argumentative essay, we must be able to have proper argumentation on it. We must think about creating the argumentation on it. How to create argumentation means a reason. हामीले राखेको कुरालाई हामीले बनाएको टाइटललाई कुन रिजनले कतिसम्म अडियन्सलाई हो यो कुरा त सही हो भन्ने बनाउन सक्छौँ. दिस इज द म्याटर. कालोलाई गोरो गोरो र कालो कुराले बनाउने भन्छ नि. ओ दिस इज वाट आर्गुमेन्टेसन एसे इज. ओके, नाउ ग्यादरिङ एन्ड डकुमेन्टिङ एभिडेन्स. होइन, हामीले एभिडेन्सहरूलाई कसरी जम्मा गर्छौँ र यसलाई कसरी डकुमेन्टेसन गर्छौँ त इन आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे. All the points you make in your paper must be supported. हामीले जे लेख्छौँ त्यो सबैले हाम्रो टाइटल र मेन कुरालाई सपोर्ट गर्नै पर्छ. If they are not, your audience will dismiss them as unfounded. यदि त्यसले सपोर्ट गर्न सकेन भएन भने हाम्रो अडियन्सले हाम्रो एसेलाई ध्यान दिने छैन. They will find our essay unfounded, irrelevant, or unclear. Sometimes you can support a statement with appeals to emotion, but most of time you support your argument's point by appealing to reason, by providing evidence, facts, and opinions in support of your position. As you gather evidence and assess its effectiveness, keep in mind that evidence in an argumentative essay never proves anything conclusively. So, keep in mind that evidence in an argumentative essayमा भएको evidence, it never proves anything conclusively. हो, यसले चाहिँ हामीलाई कन्क्लुजनमा केहीले पनि ल्याइदैन. If it did, there would be no debate and hence no point in arguing. The best that evidence can do is convince your audience that an assertion is reasonable and worth considering. मैले राखेको कुरा रिजनेबल छ र सबैले कन्सिडर गर्न लायक र कन्सिडर गर्न पर्ने कुरा छ भनेर हामीले इभिडेन्स सहित राख्न सक्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. सो काइन्ड्स अफ इभिडेन्समा हामीले के राख्नु पर्यो? फ्याक्टहरू राख्नु पर्यो. फ्याक्ट भनेको योभन्दा अगाडि घटेका भएका इभेन्टहरूलाई हामीले जस्ताको तस्तै लिएर आएर राख्ने. Evidence can be fact or opinion. Facts are statements that most people agree are true. Earth is round. होइन, यस्ता फ्याक्टहरू जति छ युनिभर्सल ट्रुथ कुराहरू एन्ड द्याट क्यान बी भेरिफाइड इन्डिपेन्डेन्टली र त्यसलाई हामीले धेरै रिजनहरू दिइरहनु पनि पर्दैन. So facts including statistics are the most commonly used type of evidence. It is a fact, for example, the fewer people per year were killed in US automobile accidents in 2012 than in 1975. 1975 मा जति मान्छे मरे 2012 मा आउँदा त्यो एक्सिडेन्ट अटोमोबाइल एक्सिडेन्ट घटेर मृतकको संख्या घट्यो भन्न सकियो हैन. यी कुराहरू राख्न सक्यौं हामीले. र हाम्रो ओपिनियन पनि के हुनु पर्यो भने the opinion that we supplement, when they are supplemented by opinion or interpretation of fact, this must be more convincing. हाम्रो ओपिनियन पनि कन्भिन्स गर्ने खालको हुनु पर्यो. So let's read it. यहाँ तपाईहरुलाई एक्जाम्पलै दिएको छ. Please you read this 275 page. And let's turn a page in 276. Criteria for evidence. अब evidence राख्नको लागि कस्ता कुराहरू, what are the criteria over there? As you select and review material, choose your evidence with the following 3 criteria in mind. यी 3टा criteria चाहिँ हुनै पर्यो. Relevant, representative and sufficient. Relevant भनेको contextual हुनु पर्यो. यो समय अनुसार relevant हुनु पर्यो, contextual. Representative, यसले कुनै प्रतिनिधित्व गर्न सक्ने खालको हुनु पर्यो. हामीले argumentative यसै लेख्दा it is representing a very important and very special thing. This we need to understand. And typical, जुन चाहिँ हाम्रो एकदमै typical हुनु पर्यो. That means that is not as others. अरूको जस्तो ठ्याक्कै मिल्ने त्यस्तो खालको भयो भने यसले खासै इम्पोर्टेन्स दिँदैन. And the evidence that we use it in it must be sufficient. यहाँनिर यो पुगेन भन्ने खालको हुनु भएन कि सबै कुरा पुग्यो, everything is enough भन्ने खालको हुनु पर्यो. So when we will write an argumentative essay, we need to think for relevant, हैन, जसले चाहिँ which will support our thesis and which will provide enough argument on it. त्यस्तो खालको हुनु पर्यो. There is the example you can read over there. Representative गर्ने खालको, यसले कुनै प्रतिनिधित्व गर्ने खालको हुनु पर्यो. That it should represent the full range of opinions about our subject, not just one side. एकपट्टिबाट मात्र represent नगरोस् कि from different angles, धेरै एंगलबाट यसले प्रतिनिधित्व गर्न सक्ने होस्. So we should also use information which can be supplied. यदि इन्फर्मेसनहरु छन् भने त्यसलाई पनि सप्लाई गर्ने हुनु पर्यो. See there, that is an example you can read over there. The sufficient, your evidence should be sufficient. हामीले राखेको evidenceहरु sufficient हुनु पर्यो. It should include enough fact, opinion and examples to support your claims. The amount of evidence you need depends on the length of your paper, हैन. हामीले लेखेको एसेको आधारमा our audience who are being used over there and your thesis. It stands to reason that you would use fewer examples in 2-page paper than in 10 page. 10 पाना लेखेर बढी विस्तृत व्याख्या गर्नु सट्टा 2 पानामा सर्टकट र एकदम कन्टेक्स्चुअल लेख्यौं भने it will be more effective, sufficient हुन्छ. So criteria for evidence मा कस्तो हुनु पर्यो, हामीले एभिडेन्स राख्दा रिलेभेन्ट हुनु पर्यो, रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ हुनु पर्यो, टिपिकल हुनु पर्यो र सफिसिएन्ट हुनु पर्यो. Now documentation of evidence in page number 277. हाम्रो एभिडेन्सहरुको डकुमेन्टेसन हामी कसरी गर्ने त? एभिडेन्सहरु जुन कुरा हामीले राख्यौं, that is appropriate, that is meaningful, that says all about what I am going to write in my argumentative essay भन्ने खालको हुनु पर्यो. त्यो कसरी हुन्छ त? So after you decide on a topic, you should begin to gather evidence. कुनै टपिकमा म लेख्छु, म यसमा लेख्छु भन्ने भइसकेपछि please we need to be sincere about collecting the evidence. Sometimes you can use your own ideas and observations to support your claims. कहिलेकाहीँ हाम्रो आफ्नै एक्सपिरियन्स र अब्जर्भेसन्सहरु राख्न सक्छौं. Most of the time, however, you will have to use the print and electronic resources of the library or search the internet to locate the information you need. हैन अहिले त छ हामीसँग Google, there are different electronic medias and accessories that we can use over here, and we need to be able to use these things and know source the materials from there too. So, and remaining, that is from documentation. We will go tomorrow. Thank you so much. Welcome. एकचोटि तपाईहरुले पनि राम्रोसँग पढ्नुस्. Very important aspects are there. तपाईहरुलाई भोलि एक्जाममा यस्तोबाट चाहिँ कस्तो क्वेशन आउँछ त भन्दा how you can arrange the argumentative essay, please write the ways, हैन यस्तो भनेर चाहिँ 5 मार्क्समा, लङमा त खासै आउँदैन, 5 मार्क्समा. अनि अझ चाहिँ कस्तो भने प्रिपेयर एन आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसे भनेर भन्छ के. अब त्यसमा चाहिँ तपाईले यी कुराहरु बुकको भन्दा बाहेकको कुराहरु इन्क्लुड गर्नु पर्यो. अब बुकको भन्दा बाहेकको कुरा इन्क्लुड गर्नको लागि चाहिँ तपाईलाई यो आर्गुमेन्टेटिभ एसेमा मैले के राख्नु पर्छ, के इन्क्लुड गर्नु पर्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ यु नीड टु नो फर्स्ट. एन्ड फर दैट बिफोर गोइङ टु द एसे यु नीड टु नो दिस टर्म्स बिफोर. हामीले डेफिनेसन एसेमा के राख्ने भनेर पढ्यौं, न्यारेटिभ एसेमा कस्तो हुनुपर्छ भनेर पढ्यौं, कज एन्ड इफेक्टमा कस्तो हुनुपर्छ भनेर पढ्यौं. अब अहिले आर्गुमेन्टेटिभमा कस्तो हुनुपर्छ भनेर पढिराछौं. दिस थिंग्स यु नीड टु नो फर्स्ट. यो चाहिँ तपाईलाई पहिला राम्रोसँग आफैलाई जानकारी हुनु पर्यो. भोलि जुन टपिकमा जसरी लेख भने पनि यु नीड टु बी एबल टु राइट. हैन लङ एसे लेख्न चाहिँ फ्री एसे दिन्छ, तर यो टाइटलमा लेख भनेर दिन्छ के. जस्तो राइट एन्ड कम्पेरिजन एन्ड कन्ट्रास्ट एसे हैन भनेर एउटा टाइटल दिन्छ छुट्टै यहाँ भन्दा बाहेकको. त्यसमा तपाईले के जान्नु पर्यो, कम्पेरिजन र कन्ट्रास्टमा चाहिँ कस्तो खालको कुराहरु तपाईले राख्नुपर्ने हुन्छ त धेरै. What is important, what you need to include, and what we should not keep over there. These things you need to be careful. Okay. So tomorrow, it's a holiday for me, and especially happy teas for girls, and have a great day. सायद क्लास हुँदैन होला, भोलि छुट्टी नै हुन्छ होला. यदि भयो भने नि मेरो क्लास चाहिँ हुँदैन है.
हस् म्याम.